We are gifts and we are blessings. We are His story in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation, לדור ודור, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation, לדור ודור, these lips will praise your name. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך. לדור ודור we protect this chain. From generation to generation, לדור ודור, these lips will praise your name. We are gifts and we are blessings. We are His story in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. לדור ודור nagid god leva. L'dor vador we protect this chain. From generation to generation, l'dor vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our hearts, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part, we are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way, and the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. The door vador, nagid god lecha. The door vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, l'dor vador, these lips will praise your name.
So we're going to start, as we started with those of you who were at dinner this evening, with words from Psalm 133. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good and beautiful it is, truly, for us to be together on this evening.
Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim
turn toward our candles. I ask everybody who's able to please rise as we join in the blessing over our festival candles, Shel Yom Tov.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehalikneh shel Yom
If you'd like the words, page 344, we give thanks to the Holy One of Blessing for giving us life and sustaining us and allowing us to reach this time. And join in the words of Shehechianu. All of you can be seated, but not you guys yet. Shiru Adonai. It's also on page 344 in the middle of the page. Sing a new song unto God. And now, I'm going to invite Noah, Stella, and Sarah forward, and everybody else can sit. So let me just explain a little bit about what's going to happen during the service. Since we have 5 places within the service where each of the students is going to share a little bit about where they are in their own Jewish identity, their own Jewish journey. So 3 students will share in each of those spots. And they'll also be leading prayers throughout the service, read a little bit of Torah or from the book of Ruth along the way. So for our first students, we have Noah, Stella, and Sarah.
For a speech like my bar mitzvah, or now my confirmation, it has been recommended that I talk about something that is a big part of my life and relate to my Judaism and Temple Beth Israel. Tonight, I want to do that a little bit differently. Quite a few of you know that when I was only 6 years old, my family and I moved all the way from upstate New York, right here to Southern California. Not only was that the biggest transition for my parents' lives, but it was a huge transition for my life as well. I remember the day my dad came into the playroom, and with as much enthusiasm as I ever seen from him before, he asked, "Who wants to move to California?" Of course, the first thought, especially being 6 years old, was I was headed straight for a tropical vacation, sun, palm trees, and best of all, no school. Who could say no to that? After a month, I was sitting in the backseat of the car, headed away from LAX, with no idea where I was or where I was headed. One nap later, I was standing outside of a hotel, and for all I knew, this was my new house. After several trips to the hot tub, the week had ended and the weekend had passed. The next thing you know, it's 6 a.m. on a Monday, and my mom is explaining to me that school exists in California. And that's where I'm headed for the day. That was the end of the tropical vacation. A couple schools later, a couple houses later, we finally settled in Claremont. Not only that, but we are less than a mile from the structure and set community in my life, TBI. Ever since moving to California, I've been at TBI. In first grade, I have vivid memories of every Sunday morning sitting right there in the pews, awkwardly silent, not knowing one thing that is going on. And next to me, my dad would sit getting all excited every single time there was a prayer he remembered. Afterwards, my first grade class would slowly, in a single file line, migrate to our classroom and sit on a colorful rug to practice the Olive Bet song, for as long as a bunch of 7-year-olds could possibly handle, of course. Thankfully, many years later, things have changed. For example, during a service, I tend to be the loud and enthusiastic one. What I'm trying to get at is the fact that I've been going to TBI with these people right here for 10 years. That blows my mind, because if you do the math, that's 2/3 of our lives. So, yeah, that's a long time. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have a place like this to come or a community like this to be a part of. Many people have asked me if I've discovered my Jewish identity. Recently, I realized it's not some complicated journey that I have to go on to find the hidden treasure. I've already discovered my Jewish identity, but simply had no idea. For the last 10 years, actually, it's my community. Being part of a Jewish community has brought me closer to the people which I have in common. It has allowed me to show up in a special location at any time of the day and know there are people here who support me and have enabled me to learn more about my tradition. Being part of a community has also showed me the importance of belonging. Whether it be a family, workplace, school, club, or whatever it may be, being here at TBI has taught me many things, and some of which I simply can't explain. Not only that, but being able to sneak a brownie from the fridge every Wednesday has been quite a bonus. One thing I've learned from being here that I will definitely utilize for the rest of my life is acceptance. No matter who's at the door, people are always welcomed in. When I was little, before coming to TBI, my view had always been, why meet people or talk to people you don't know? Well, yeah, that's a dumb infinite loop. How do you know anybody if you don't meet them? How do you meet them if you don't let them in? How would there be a community if everyone is isolated? All these values wouldn't exist, and many of us would not be here today. Simply, if this wasn't the case. Thank you.
Take it with you. So we're not going to applaud after each one. Noah's on the longer side, just so that you know, as that goes through, which is fine. He says the longest, so we'll see as we go. You can time them if you want. I don't know. All right, go ahead, Stella.
It's been over 3 years since my bat mitzvah, and in that time, a lot of things have changed in my life. I've spent a lot of time and energy as part of my school's competitive cheerleading and stunt team. In that time, we've won 2 national titles, and my team is now considered to be the best in the whole state. As I am not the biggest kid on the team, I get to be what they call a flyer and at the top of the pyramid. I've also changed a lot in how I connect with the world. I used to be someone who was shy and didn't like to get involved or participate in just about anything. I really just wanted to lay on my bed and pet my dog. Then it came time for my bat mitzvah, and I was really nervous about the whole thing. I just didn't think I could do it, but I did, and I don't think I messed it up either. And as much as things have changed for me, the accomplishment and connection I made through preparing for that day has been with me ever since. I have a bond to this group of kids I am standing with today, and that is different than all the other relationships I have in my life. I've been part of this TBI community since preschool, and while I am not the most spiritual or religious person, the friendships and bonds I've created are very important to me and my Jewish identity. For the past couple of years, I've been involved in a Rosh Chodesh program headed by Jojo Treadwell. It's a young women's group where we discuss our feelings about Judaism, current events, individual ideas, and female issues in general. Being a part of a group like Rosh Hashanah and the TBI community as a whole has helped me cope with some challenges I've had in the past about being Jewish. I don't know that I will ever be a religious person or spiritual person, but I have come to understand and appreciate who I am as a member of TBI and the Jewish people.
Sorry, I'm tall today. It's hard to talk about my Jewish experience without including my mother, who unfortunately can't be here tonight. From an early age, she knew that she wanted to be a Jew, and everything she did in her life was following Jewish principles. She wanted the full experience, so she had her bat mitzvah in 2008. She managed to balance a marriage, 2 young children, and finish her college degree while studying Hebrew and staying true to her values. She made sure I never missed a day of Sunday school, even when I was sick or I didn't want to. She woke me up early in the morning to study for my bat mitzvah on school days. I used to complain, but now that I'm here, it's hard to say anything negative about those experiences. Without her, I wouldn't have made such a positive connection with all these people from a young age, and I wouldn't be who I am today. I can't focus on my journey because I grew up with it and it was basically routine to me. My mother was a person who worked hard for her religion and raised her children to follow and struggle with their Jewish ideas and values.
Yeah. Yitgadol v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra hirute ve'amlich malchute B'chayechon uvyom mechon Uchaye dechol beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman kariv V'yimeru Amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach Le'olam u'lamei omaya Yitbarach Yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei tekudesha l'richu Le'ila mikol birchata v'shirata Stush b'chata v'nechemata Iram be'alma v'yimeru Amen.
A few steps back, just stay up here through Baruch Hu. Ask everybody to rise as we turn to page 28 for Baruch Hu, our call to prayer. We're going to continue with Ahavat Olam. I'm going to ask Arlo to come up and help to lead us.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Haftah Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Elokein Adonai Eloheinu Shel
ata Adonai, Oelamu Israel.
Page 34 and 35, ask everybody who's able to please rise. We join in singing Shema Yisrael.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
אלוהיכם, אמן.
Hi, I'm Emily. Judaism has always been a part of my life. I went to Jewish preschool, was forced into Hebrew school, and we celebrated all the holidays. However, Judaism didn't become a special part of my life until I began going to URJ Camp Newman. Now, camp wasn't immediately this amazing place that everyone talks about. For one thing, one of my best friends who goes to camp with me is a grade ahead of me, and therefore I was in junior camp with all the babies, and she was in teen camp and wasn't allowed to see me. She was the only one who convinced me to go, and the only reason I went, so this was really scary for me. The first night of camp was terrifying. I'd never been so far away from my parents. I was in a whole different place with people I had never met before, in a room that was dark with nobody, and it was scary. I don't know where I am.
After that one scary night, I very quickly made friends, and camp very quickly became an amazing place that I look forward to going to every year. I very quickly found my camp community full of a beautiful group of people who are goofy and creative and will love you no matter what you do. I started to see the little amazing parts of camp, like making bracelets during services, stargazing with your new best friends, and stealing trays of pita and hummus from the dining hall and eating way too much of it. And just laying in the sun with your new best friends, surrounded in a bubble of safety and happiness and love. In this magical place, you feel as though nothing can hurt you and you are unstoppable. At camp, my love of Judaism and all the little things that make it special grew. When I came home from camp, I may have left the wonderful people and beautiful place that I had spent my summers in, but I definitely did not leave the wonderful memories and lessons that camp gave me. I learned to appreciate Judaism for its unique abilities and questioning that allows, and the amazing people that I can now call some of my best friends because of it. And now I get to go every summer. This summer, I'm excited to be able to go to camp for 2 months and take part in the Avodah program, meaning work, and get to learn all about the things that make camps as special as it is. I'm so excited to get to help make this beautiful camp community even more special for the people around me and bring that back to TBI.
Hi everyone. People ask me all the time, what makes you feel the most Jewish? And that question may sound difficult or weird to some, but for me it's a simple answer. I go to these things called NIFTY events, and NIFTY stands for the North American Federation of Temple Youth, and it's basically a place where a bunch of Jewish teens from different regions can meet and find out more about their Jewish identity. I go to NIFTY SoCal regional events, and the first time I went, I was excited and optimistic, but as you'll hear from many NIFTYites, it isn't always perfect the first time around. After taking a break, I finally went back this year. It is the best decision I've ever made. I have met so many people, and I'm happy to say that it is the most connected to my Jewish identity that I've been. I've learned how to be more of an active member in the Jewish community, and I've truly found a safe space where I don't have to worry about school or family life. It has pushed me out of my comfort zone and allowed me to take leadership roles, whether it be leading a mixer or allowing me the skills to become a leader in my own community. It has given me so many amazing opportunities, like the one to go to the Yor J. Kutz camp this summer in New York, and I will get to learn more about action and advocacy, as well as making more Jewish friends from all across the country, including some in Canada. Without NIFTY, I feel as though I wouldn't be as happy with my Jewish identity as I am right now. NIFTY has strengthened my Jewish identity and helped me feel more connected to the larger Jewish community. Thank you.
For as long as I can remember, my family has always had a sukkah during Sukkot. Every year, Sukkot is a bonding time with all sorts of people. The reason for this is mainly how Jewish culture tells us to invite as many people as possible into the sukkah. The sukkah facilitates you practicing the mitzvah of Hachnasat Orchim, welcoming guests. The first person I bond with during the holiday is my dad, who I build the sukkah with. It was doing this where I first learned how to use a drill and nail gun, and it's always a great way to start off the holiday. Then I'll use the sukkah for many things. I'll have breakfast in it, decorate it, play games in it, but most importantly, invite people over to spend time in it. This is my favorite part, as is what the Torah tells us to do. So if I'm inviting a friend over and I normally couldn't, hey, it's Sukkot, now I can. I really love how this holiday promotes having friends and family over, but also strangers, and I don't know anything quite like it. This holiday not only brings me closer to everyone I have over, but to the Jewish community in whole for endorsing this beautiful tradition. However, the best part is meeting new people. There is a program for English teachers from all around the world to come to Claremont, and we always invite as many of them into our sukkah for dinner as possible. It is through Sukkot I have met amazing people from the Dominican Republic, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Uruguay, Ukraine, Egypt, Indonesia, Finland, Estonia, and many more. Through the holiday of Sukkot, I have met so many people I won't forget and learned so much about different cultures. It is during these fascinating conversations I have felt most secure about my Jewish traditions and ethics that I follow, and most connected to the goals of Judaism. It is during these times I feel most connected not only to the Jewish community, who I know are welcoming people into their sukkahs, but also the Torah, which commands us to do this amazing act that promotes friendship and knowledge.
Page 40, our song of freedom, redemption, our song of celebration at the sea, Mi Chamocha.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני כל ישראל.
So we're going to turn to page 42 for Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom L'shalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. 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 Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Amen. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom L'shalom V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu L'chaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha Amen.
Paloma and John Paul can come join Jacob here.
Hi, as Rabbi introduced me, I'm Jake Resloff. Most of you guys know me as Jakey. In writing the speech, I was told to make sure to have a single idea. Most people try to throw three things together, have to throw it out, and then start all over. So I think I got it. So I went to thinking, what is the main point I'd like to enlighten you all with this evening? I first thought about my journey to get to this point, but that could bring up many side tangents that wouldn't be necessary. My next thought was the people who brought me along this journey and guided me into this service tonight. Still, I wanted to get deeper, so I put more thought into it and decided on one thing that was for sure. One thing that was persistent within me, and that is how grateful I am for such community I got to grow up in here at TBI. More specifically, the preschool and Hebrew school that I spent countless Sunday mornings participating in. The memories of those experiences are endless, and so is my gratefulness to those who made it possible. The preschool is where it all began with teacher Deborah Pruitt and teacher Cindy, whom were the first to challenge me in many different ways. They also were some of the first to make me feel a sense of home outside of my home. They also were the people who introduced me to my roots of Judaism. As I got older, I was lucky enough to have somehow been let out of preschool and progressed to Beit Sefer. It is within this program that many of our memories were made thanks to none other than people like Steve Feldman. Steve had an amazing way of connecting to our teenage selves. In fact, Steve himself was very much a teenager just like us. My class. Wow, my class. Every single friendship, even the short-lived ones to this point, have been a wonder. From best friends since preschool to friends for maybe a year. I just have to thank you all for taking this journey with me and always being right alongside me through the same highs and lows. Also, some people who have guided me through this journey and helped me extremely, especially through the religious aspects, are these two young gentlemen up here joining us. Thank you to you two. Lastly, and most sincerely, I must thank my family. My two interesting brothers, who have actually been tolerable recently, surprisingly. Next, my dad, who is my coach, not only on the field but in life. He has provided me with amazing guidance and has taught me how to take care of others and myself. Most importantly, I need to thank the best mother I could ever imagine. Thank you so much, Mom. You're one of my biggest heroes in life.
I'm Paloma. Hello. Okay. Growing up, I had a very strange relationship with my Jewish identity. I grew up in a very mixed household. It was mixed race and mixed religion, Catholic and Jewish. I thought all Jews opened presents on Christmas and hunted eggs on Easter, even though they didn't go to church. It wasn't until I went here to TBI that I realized that wasn't the normal thing. I've been coming here since I was in 3rd grade, so since I was around 9, and I made a lot of new friends. Then after my bat mitzvah, I started volunteering with the kids as a madricha. At first, I worked with the 3rd grade, and the teacher, although she was a lovely person at heart, she wasn't the best teacher, per se, so she kind of treated me as if I was a 3rd grader, even though I was 13. This year, however, I worked with the 4 and 6-year-olds, and specifically with a boy with autism. His name was Zachary, lovely kid, and they called me Teacher Lola, and for once I felt more in touch with my Jewish identity. Something about teaching the kids about Passover or the Aleph Bet really helped me understand it as well. In order for me to learn, I had to teach.
Shabbat Shalom. Judaism has taught me many things in life, and not simply about religion and culture, though I have learned quite a lot. Judaism has taught me the value of people and community. My earliest memories in Judaism aren't long hours in Hebrew school or religious discourse with teachers, but rather the love and kindness of a community I was too young to grasp. Growing up in New Zealand as a Jew is not easy. With shechita meat and circumcision deemed legally inhumane, Judaism has seen a deep decline in recent years, and I watched as my beloved community slowly died out. In the city of Wellington, we had 2 synagogues, an Orthodox shul and a progressive temple, both of which I would attend occasionally, and seeing the sharp contrast between each synagogue was very interesting for a young boy. These two groups, as polar opposites, would differ and argue over needs for circumcision and kosher meats, topics that shook our community deeply but seemed pointless, only to separate the Jewish community in Wellington, even more than it already was. Jews in New Zealand account for 1,000th of the total population, so a very, very minuscule population. In years roughly 5 BCE, similarly, the Jewish community in Greece was almost unrecognizable from that era's mainstream Judaism. Jewish individuals spoke classic Greek, wore Greek attire, and adopted a Greek lifestyle, some even committing to classic veganism. The Jews in Greece were special because they remained the oldest and continuous Jewish presence in Europe. The survival was not born out of division, but out of communal unity. As time progressed in Wellington, my community realized that Judaism is more than observance and halacha, and interdenominational Jewish events became commonplace with every holiday season. As a Jewish youth, the unity of my community set a good example in my mind that Judaism is a heritage with a bigger picture. After all, both Orthodox and progressive Jews are equally Jewish. In the Pittsburgh Foundation of the Principles of Reform Judaism, there is a quote from Talmud Shavuot 39a that really resonated with me. Kol Yisrael erevim ze bazeh. Translated from Old Judeo-Palestinian Aramaic, this basically means all of Israel is responsible for one another. The assertion means that as Jews, we are equally responsible for the survival of our people. And the protection and preservation of our communities strikes at my heart specifically. As it currently stands, despite all efforts to include communities, all projections show that Judaism in New Zealand will be extinct within the next 3 generations. When we look at each other as different or wrong, as some of my community did back then, we ignore the basic elements of Judaism, being community. The Jewish community, to me, has really shaped my life. I've witnessed that we are too small and too few of a people to segregate and fracture our fellows. And no matter who you are or what you believe or where you congregate, you are an integral part of what it means to be Jewish. The community of Judaism has helped me find value and meaning in myself and has given me self-security in who I am and where I belong. I have confidence that no matter where I am in life, where I am in the world, or who I am, I will always have a place to go to and feel at home in a synagogue. Judaism is more than religion, culture, or a hobby to me. Though I count myself as religious, it is my identity, and it defines who I am as a heritage. Who we all are is our heritage, and nobody can ever change that or take that away from you.
So we're going to turn now to page 46 for our Amidah, Paloma, Gigi, Kalila, and Jake. By the way, the classmates really wanted John Paul to read that speech in his New Zealand accent, but,
It's true.
but he didn't do it. It was just the... So I'm going to ask you to turn to page 46, ask everybody who's able to please rise as we begin our Amidah prayer.
Adonai sefatatita uvia gitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, L'Zoher V'Se'avot B'Imahot, U'Me'Bigul Ha'aliv Me'Bneihem, L'Man Shemo V'Ahavah, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezra Sarah.
Page 50.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Ve'yakol atah Rach Le'Hoshia, Mori Hatal, Mechakel Hayim Bechesed, Mechaye Akol Berachamim Ramim, So Omech Noflim Berofech Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umechaye Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Richamo
Mashiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman ata l'achayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Middle of page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please take a few moments for a silent prayer. When you're through, you may be seated.
Bottom of page 60, actually top of page 60 in your prayer book. I'm going to join in a prayer for peace singing Shalom Rav. I'd like to invite Gigi, Alex, and Kalila to come up. And
It is really an understatement to say that my being Jewish has influenced my view of the world around me, since I happen to think that it is essentially the basis of all my beliefs, but this extends far beyond just religious ones. My Jewish identity has formed my understanding of my surroundings, from the people I interact with to the way I interpret the events of my life. First and foremost, my Jewish identity has given me a sense of community for as long as I can remember. This doesn't just mean it gave me close friends to hide in the bathroom with during services, although that is sometimes true. It means I was exposed to the power of belonging. I learned how special and important it is to surround yourself with people who care and the profound effect of connecting with others. I've never been the most comfortable in social environments necessarily, but my experiences here in a Jewish community has contributed greatly to my growth towards a person who actually can stand on the bima and give a speech, despite my best efforts to convince myself otherwise. A great deal of my confidence in who I am as a person and how I navigate the world comes from the lessons I've learned here, most specifically in confirmation during the past year. But to go even further, being Jewish has changed the way I see other people, strangers even. It isn't news to anyone here, but Jews aren't exactly the most beloved group of people in the world. I've experienced my fair share of prejudice in my life, and as I'm sure everyone on this bima has. And although this could have deterred me from adhering to my Jewish identity, I believe it has done quite the opposite.
Because of the prejudice I have faced toward being different, I've learned the vitality of accepting other people for who they are, whether that's religion, race, or sexual orientation. I've also been taught that Torah is a living document that is reinterpreted with the changing of society, which has always led me to believe that I can be Jewish and still be the open-minded, accepting person I want to be. So in conclusion, being Jewish has made me tolerant of anyone and everyone, no matter how different, through exposure to the hatred and prejudice minority groups can endure. And in addition, has made me aware of the significance of community, which has shaped the way I interact with the people and the world around me.
Just gonna make this taller.
All right. Some of you that like to debate or get in your politics entirely from YouTube may have heard of Ben Shapiro before. Shapiro, thank you. Shapiro is a popular conservative commentator, famous for creating debates that turn into playground fights and acting as a role model to 14-year-olds that use the word libtard unironically. Recently, Mr. Shapiro came up again because of a botched BBC interview, which he ended very shortly after some shouting matches by the interviewer. But in the middle of some pure comedy gold, I noticed a moment where he targeted some of his anger on the non-religious side of the Jewish community. During the interview, he was asked about a tweet where he said that all Jews that voted for Obama were non-religious, following up with saying that those that were ethnically Jewish could turn in their badges. He later said during the interview that he believes being a Jew means accepting certain ideological standards. First off, I want to say how this statement is extremely wrong, and that joining a religion does not mean simply becoming part of a monolith and being wiped of all personal opinion. I'm glad that I am part of a culture that has praised questioning of religious ideas throughout history, through the things like the creation of Torah commentaries and different rabbinic schools of thought. It was immediately clear to me that what he said wasn't true, but then I thought about the idea of turning my badge in for a bit. If I wasn't shoving Hebrew scripture down the throats of the people around me, how was I marking my identity as a Jew? Had I already turned my badge in by giving up much of the religious ideology that Judaism has been originally packaged with? I made a little thought prompt for myself. If I wasn't raised at all Jewish, how would I have turned out differently? First, I would have to think about what it would be like not going to a Jewish preschool. Then, what about the 7 years of my life I went to Sunday school in order to become bar mitzvah? If anything, it made sure that I never forget the 4 or 5 prayers that we recited during every morning service. I'm 95% sure that I sing the Ve'ahavta in my sleep. When I first thought about my time in Hebrew school, that's all I could think of. Different prayers that have been carved into my brain along with Jewish ethics and Bible stories. Then, thinking about it more, I thought about all the books I learned, all the games I learned, everything I had absorbed, because I didn't grow up reading the Tanakh and the Talmud. I read Sammy Spider and Rabbi Rocket Power, things that weren't religious at all, but definitely pictures of Jewish culture. One of my favorite books when I was younger was called All of a Kind Family, a book about a Jewish family living in New York. And I saw something strange when I revisited recently. All the kids have traditional Jewish names. Yiddish is used frequently. A Purim play is even set up during the book, but not once does the family pray. They weren't waking up and putting on tefillin. They weren't saying a bracha over their daily activities, but they had a Jewish identity that was unmistakable once you read the book. The same happened when I rethought the childhood that I had sitting in a synagogue. Even though I didn't believe in the God I was singing about in my prayers for Sunday services, was I less Jewish for memorizing them and enjoying them to this day? Of course not. Even though I didn't believe in Judaism in a religious sense, didn't mean I didn't want to connect with this culture that I'm absolutely fascinated by. Was I celebrating religion at all when I was taking part in my own Purim plays? No, but I still took part in them because of my love for the Jewish culture and the roots in my heritage. To come back to Mr. Shapiro's point, being Jewish is something that shouldn't be attributed to meeting a checklist of beliefs and actions, but should be attributed to wanting to participate in the Jewish culture and seeing oneself as part of the Jewish people. Whether out of faith or interest, it doesn't matter. What matters is the love of the culture and the introduction of it into a person's life. Nobody can ever tell me that I'm not able to carry the Jewish culture on my sleeve. From the lingo to the literature to the love of the culture, there's no way I could call myself anything but Jewish. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kalila.
So when I was told by the rabbi that we would be writing speeches about Judaism and what makes it important to us, I knew exactly what I was going to write about: camp. 1101 Pepper Tree Lane in Simi Valley, my home away from home. When most people hear that I attend Jewish camp, they assume that all we do is pray all day and dedicate ourselves to God. But camp is so much more than that. Camp is wonderful people living together, adventuring together, and loving each other with all while being connected through Judaism. Judaism is special to me because it has given me a platform to connect with some of the most amazing people I have ever met, who also happen to be Jewish, and form relationships that I will never forget. Maybe one of the most influential events of my life, and I am so grateful that I am Jewish so that I am able to partake in such a magical environment. During Shabbat, everyone is connected in a way I cannot even begin to explain. As the prayers of our ancestors drip from our mouths, we all seem to become one, and the reason to continue is apparent. The lessons I have learned from this magical place inspire me to become further involved in my Jewish community and feed my admiration for this culture. Thank you.
So we're now going to turn to Ein Kamocha on page 244. And I'd like to invite Sam, Noah, and Sammy, and Alex to lead us. 244.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Av harachamim, etiva virtzonecha, et Sion, tivneh omo Yerushalayim, tivneh omo Yerushalayim, ki lecha levad batachnu, melech Hebron v'nisa Adon olamim. Zion, Eitzei Torah. Zion, Eitzei Torah. Udevar Adonai, Yerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'nidu Shato.
We're all going to join in the words of Shema Yisrael on page 248.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Eloheinu, Kadosh Shalom. Karevu Adonai iti, u'neramema shemo yachdav. Lecha Adonai al kedura, ve'al yevura, ve'al tiferet, ve'hanetzach, ve'ha'od. Tikol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, tikol b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Adonai
That was good. Nobody dropped the Torah. That's good. All right. So let's say, I want to say something just about the connection between Kabbalat Torah, confirmation, and Shavuot. Shavuot's been around a really long time. Confirmation's been around less long, right, as far as a Jewish practice. Right? Shavuot comes 50 days after Pesach, or the beginning of Pesach, second day Pesach. And at Pesach we leave Egypt, and on Shavuot we stand at Mount Sinai and we receive Torah. And when the Reform movement originally in Germany, borrowed confirmation from the Lutherans in Germany, they pegged it to Shavuot because of this idea that we're kind of standing in the covenant, standing in that place, recommitting ourselves to that. During Shavuot, you'll hear today a few of our students are reading just a few lines from Ruth, but within those lines are, your people shall be my people, your God shall be my God, which Ruth speaks to her mother-in-law, Naomi. And Ruth becomes the paradigm for Shavuot. The book of Ruth is read on Shavuot, as well as the Ten Commandments, which we'll hear in just a moment. Not just because today in a very much more porous religious community where we have far more Jews by choice than we once had in ancient days, and Ruth is also a prototype and always was for the rabbis of somebody who chooses Judaism, right? Because she's a Moabite who becomes Jewish. But she was an example, not in the book of Ruth wasn't chosen because because she was a convert as much as because her actions are the actions that all of us, in a sense, need to take, right, on a regular basis, which is to commit ourselves, to recommit ourselves, to find our place. And that's really what all of these guys, when they're not whispering to each other in the background, what all of these guys are doing today, which is, in their own way, the words that they're sharing and those other kinds of things, they are thinking about where are they? Where do they fit into this covenant of the Jewish people? Where do they find their place? And that's why Kabbalat Torah and Shavuot come together in this way. And so what we're going to do today is they're going to each read just a bittle of Torah, or from the book of Ruth. We'll be reading from the Ten Commandments, which we will beginning actually, except that I just had it, and oh, it's here. We're going to be beginning with Exodus chapter 19, verse 20. So there are Torah commentaries every few things there, the bigger blue books. If you'd like to follow along, I don't know the page. Exodus, Cantor Paul will give us the page. 1920.
476.
476, if you have a Torah commentary and you want to follow along. Okay. But we're going to read this as one aliyah. So we're going to make the blessing, and then the kids are, if you've ever watched a relay on television, sort of like that, except instead of a baton, they have a yad. All right? So they will just continue to read all the way through the Ten Commandments, the 12 students who are reading from the Ten Commandments, and then the 3 students who are reading from Ruth will do the same. And when we get to Anochi, Joachim will be reading at that point. That's actually the beginning of God's words, traditionally, in that point. And there are actually different traditions around here, but we follow the tradition in this community that when we get to that point, the whole congregation will stand as if we're standing at the bottom of Mount Sinai. We could go in, the rabbis argue, should you stand, should you sit, should you stand? That's the tradition, arguing about whether you should stand or you should sit. So that's how that will play out. And then after we read Torah, we'll read a few lines from the book of Ruth. So what I'm going to ask first our first 3 Torah readers to come up toward here. And I'm going to ask all parents of confirmands who are here to stand up. 3, 2, 1, we'll do Baruch Hu. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'na'atanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Amen.
Amen. Vayera Adonai al har Sinai el Rosh Hahar. Vayikra Adonai le Moshe el Rosh Hahar. Vaya'al Moshe. Vayera Adonai. Vayera Adonai.
Yomer.
Vayo. Yeah, that's what it is. Vayomer Adonai El Moshe Reid Ha'ed Ba'am Pen Yehersu El Adonai Lir Oats Vanafal Mimenu Rav.
Verse 22.
וגם הכהנים הנגשים אל אדוני התקדשו פן יפרץ בהם אדוני ויאמר משה אל אדוני לא יוכל העם לעלות על הר סיני כי אתה בינו לאמר הגבל את ההר V'kidashto.
Verse 24.
Vayomer la Adonai le'ireh ve'aladi ata ve'ha'aniyun imach ve'hayu amnim dara al ha'alesu la'alot el Adonai be'ayra b'bam vayered Moshe el ha'am ve'hayomer alehem.
Where you are? Okay, you ready?
Chapter 20, verse 1.
Right?
וידבר אלוהים כל הדברים האלה לאמור.
Please stand.
אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אשר הוציאך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים.
Verse 3.
לא יהיה לך אלוהים אחרים על פניי, לא תעשה לך פסל וכל תמונה אשר בשמיים ממעל ואשר בארץ מתחת ואשר במים מתחת לארץ.
Gigi?
Verse 5.
לא תשתחווה להם ולא תעבדם, כי אנוכי אדוני אלוהיך אלקנה פוקד עוון אבות על בנים, על שילשים ועל ריבעים לשונאי, ועושה חסד לאלפים, לאוהבי ולשומרי מצוותי.
Jakey?
Verse 7.
לא תישא את שם אדוני אלוהיך לשווא, כי לא ינקה אדוני את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו.
Verse 9.
ששת ימים תעבוד, ועשית כל מלאכתך, ויום השביעי שבת לאדוני אלוהיך, לא תעשה כל מלאכה, אתה ובנך וביתך, עבדך ואמתך, ובהמתך, וגרך אשר בשעריך.
Verse 11.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, את הים ואת כל אשר בם, וינח ביום השביעי. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השמיים ויקדשהו. כבד את אביך ואת אמך, למען אריכון ימיך על האדמה אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לה.
Verse 13.
לא תרצח, לא תנאף, לא תגנוב, לא תאמר רעך את שקר, לא תחמוד בית רעך, לא תחמוד אשת רעך, ועבדו ואמתו v'shoro v'chamaro v'chol asher l're'echa.
Awesome.
You may be seated.
Ve'hohayam ro'im et hakalot ve'et halapidim ve'et kol hashofar ve'et hahar ashen vayar ha'am vayanu vayamdu merahok vayamru el Moshe daber ata imanu v'nishma Va'al yedaber imanu Elohim penamut.
Verse 17.
Do you go to the next page? Do you go to the next page? Let's just make sure in case you do. Okay.
Vayomer Moshe et ha'am al tira'u ki levavor nasi etecha nasot etech etchem ba'am ha'elohim vayavor tieh yirato al penechem levilti techetau vayomer ha'am Vayomer ha'am Vayamod ha'am mir pachok umoshe nieh al harafal asher shel Elohim.
Touch kiss. Just because you're the last one. Yeah. Yep. He's going to touch kiss for us here. I'm going to ask parents to stand up again. Blessing is on page 250. Okay. 3, 2, go. Stay standing, because I'm going to ask everybody to stand now as Alex and Emily lift and dress the Torah. So put a hand on both sides. Lift off the parchment first.
Vezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe mipnei bnei Yisrael anvi Adonai v'yad Moshe. Yisrael ve'yoretatahu Yisrael ve'yoretatahu Torah, hallelujah. Torah, hallelujah. Torah, hallelujah. Torah, hallelujah. Israel, ve'yoretatahu Israel, ve'yoretatahu Torah, hallelujah. Torah, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Torah, hallelujah. Torah,
So as I said, from the book of Ruth, we're really just reading 6 verses from the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 12 through verse, without my glasses, I can't even read the number, through verse 17. And so we're going to ask our Ruth readers, Paloma, Emily, and Kara, to come forward.
Shovna benotai lechna Kizakanti leot leish Ki amarti
tikal, gam hayiti, gam hayiti halayla, le'ish, vegam yaladiti anonim. Halahem sorry. Where were you?
You gotta track with your finger. Halahem tisabeh.
Halahem tisabena. Ad asher yigdalu. Halahem tehagena. Levilati. Vayot leish. Al benotai. Timoli. Me'od. Mikael, ki yatse avi, yad Adonai.
Stay up here, just you bloody nose.
Is it bleeding?
No.
Okay.
Felt like it was.
You're gonna do it with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You ready?
Vatise nakolan, vativke naod, vativshach orpa, vachamota, verut, davka baba, vatomer, hine, shavavimte, el amav, ve'el Elohecha, shuvi, acharei vimtei.
Atomerut, al tivge'ivi, le'ozvech, lashuv me'acha'arich, ki el asher tilchi, elech, uvasher talini, alin, amech, ami, Belohayich Elohai, Va'asher Talmuti Amut, Vasham Echaver Kol Ya'aseh Adonai li V'cho Yosif Ki Hamavet Yafrid
Beini u'beinei. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki nizgah Shemo levado, Odo al eretz v'shamayim, Vayaren keren le'amo, Tehila lechol hasidav, Livnei Yisrael, Am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Last 6 lines, bottom of the page. Eitz ha'inhi lemachazim ba letopecha meushar arateha barcheinu B'chol netivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Kadesh, Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu
Everyone can be seated.
So, Judaism and the game of baseball have always been significant in my identity. My Jewish education began at TBI preschool, which is right outside these doors. I remember singing the Hebrew alphabet song, learning about holidays, and playing on the playground. In religious school, my class and I would attend Sunday morning tefillah, learn prayers, and play Gaga. These things brought me closer to my Jewish friends, and I'm happy to see 7 other TBI preschool friends with me getting confirmed today. I really felt connected to Judaism at TBI, and the learning had more meaning when I was with friends. Living in Otzaloma was not a very highly populated Jewish community, so the TBI community was my extended family. In 2012, my family and I moved to Canyon Lake and now belong to 2 temples closer to home. Baseball has been a large part of my life as well. I started playing baseball in preschool and currently play for my high school baseball team. Recently, I have gained a stronger connection to Judaism with my trip to Israel last summer. I went to Israel with Maccabi playing for Team USA in the Israel Youth Olympics. I played baseball against different countries and everyone was Jewish. I've never seen so many people from different countries who share the same beliefs. This trip was beyond inspiring as it taught me what Judaism is. One community. To stay with your community is everything, and why I'm back at TBI today. Even though each of these congregations and communities have added to my Jewish identity, I have felt a stronger connection to TBI and my TBI friends, and John Paul, who's also from my current temple. That is why I'm back here today by choice to be confirmed into my Jewish life.
I am Joachim Marcus Gras Salon, son of Judith and Reed. I grew up in Amsterdam, where today there's a very small Jewish community. For centuries, it is a very Jewish city where a quarter of the population were Jews. We were the backbone of businesses and colored life through our culture. Most of my family was killed in World War II, so religion was mostly not talked about after the war. This resulted in traditions being celebrated quietly at home. My grandmother tells me stories how the Germans kicked them out of their beautiful home and made it their headquarters. They moved into a small house where her mother had a hair salon. There, my great-grandfather was hidden. During the day, he had to sit endless hours on a chair, not able to go to the bathroom, not moving for hours at a time. Otherwise, the squeaking wooden floorboards would give him away. When her mother and my great-grandmother heard a squeak, she would start singing loudly, which was awkward at times. So her personnel and customers would not suspect there was anyone hidden upstairs. During the same time, at my age, my grandfather spent 5 years in a Japanese prison camp. This was in Nederland-Indië, now Indonesia. He was tortured, and his mother, my great-grandmother, starved to death. Following World War II, he moved with about 100,000 people of Dutch heritage and were placed geographically by religion in the Netherlands. They spoke Dutch and had Dutch schooling, but in Holland they were far from welcome. This is when the xenophobia began, and into which my mother was raised. Living in Indiana, I experienced xenophobia, and while living in Amsterdam, anti-Semitism. I remember when I was 8, I was beaten up in school by a Muslim boy when he found out I was a Jew. I lived the Jewish life because I grew up in it. I love it and honor it, always. Perhaps because I see the joy it brings in my mother and grandmother, who could not live it freely. And I see myself as a part of all humanity. Some of my life goals include upholding Jewish traditions, the Torah scriptures, standing up for the Jewish community, protecting human rights, and finding a place where I can make a positive change for everyone. I do not want any of the horror stories my family went through for anyone. This never again. I see the difference in freedom of living religiously here in the United States. I value the experience of being a part of this Kabbalat Torah 5779. I am thankful for the leadership of Rabbi Kupitz, the involvement and friendship of my classmates, the friends I made in NIFTY, and the long life learning about the role as a Jew in the 21st century world. I am learning from the past and inspired to work towards improving the conditions of the world, humankind, Judaism, and Tikkun Olam. This year I started raising money for a well in Benin, Africa, where my uncle at the age of 70 started to drill for water. His goal is to bring water to villages. This inspired me to raise money for that effort to help better the living conditions in the place where people walk miles for a drop of water that might not be a clean one. I continue my Jewish walk to help shorten their walk.
Since I can remember, Judaism has been one of the most important things in my life. Due to my dad being a cantor and my mom also being extremely engaged in our community, I've always felt at home with other Jews. This love for Judaism led to Camp Newman and Nifty. These communities were a natural progression of my love for Judaism. I've gone to camp since 3rd grade, which is the first opportunity I can get. Newman is a place that I can gladly call my own. As many of you know, a few years ago, camp burnt down. This is extremely hard to get through, but I have many close friends there that helped me to endure it. I've been a part of Nifty SoCal since spring Kalal my 8th grade year. This was also the first event that I could attend. The community in Nifty SoCal has helped me grow both as a person and as a leader. I have gained more confidence as a Jew, and I've learned to love myself and the communities that I'm so grateful and lucky to be a part of. This led me to run for regional board for Nifty SoCal. And as of June 1st, I'm the Religious and Culture Vice President of Nifty SoCal. That means that you all have to go to an event now. The group of people who are in this class to my right are some of my best friends. They're people that I trust and I feel comfortable talking to, not just about Jewish things. Last week, Stella said, quote, "One of the main reasons I come here is to see you guys." And this is super true. Although I do love sitting for 2 hours and talking about Judaism, I really come to talk with some of my best friends. So my love for these groups and the Jewish community as a whole will stick with me for the rest of my life. I can now say that I've not only found a home with other Jews, but I can say that I love being Jewish.
שלא שמח גויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמתם כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר בהיית אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
John Paul, join me up here. Let's remain standing on page 294. We take a moment to remember those in our lives who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. We hold them in our hearts and in our minds. In addition, we all know that when we celebrate events in our lives, we're also keenly aware of those who we would have liked to celebrate these events with, who are no longer with us physically, but feel very much present at this moment. And we hold all of those memories in this room with us as well. We're going to join in the words of Kaddish, again, page 294. Just reading 1, 2, 3.
Yitgadal, Yitkadash, Shemir Rabbah, Ve'amad, Yivrach, Yirtei, Yamlich Malchutei, Uvchayechon, V'yomechon, Uvchayei L'chol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, V'yizman Kariv, Ve'imeru, Amen. Yahei Shmei Rabbah, Mevarach, Le'olam, Olamei, Omaya, Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitramam, Yitnaseh, Yitadar, Yitalev, Yitalal, Shmei Kudsha, Richu, Le'elam, Yikol Berchata, V'shirata, Tushbechata, V'nechamata, Lamiram Yama, Bimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabam Yishaya, V'chein Aleinu V'kol Yisrael, Bimru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimrumav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'kol Yisrael, Bimru Amen.
Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for blessing. So we have for each of you a confirmation certificate and also a book that is a Tanakh that is inscribed with your names on the cover. Yes, with your name. Paloma Lucky right there, right on the cover corner. Yeah. All right. So when you come up, I'll give you your certificate, and then we'll give you your book, and then you can go back to your seat. You're going to come up the same order you walked in, so you know when you're coming up, right? When you walked in the door. So, Stella Voss. Sam Bach. Sarah Borer. Sammy Bush. John Paul Cohen. Joachim Gratz Delay. Gigi Rose. Gabrielle. Today, a more formal occasion. Khalila Hamid. Kara Cole. Alexander Linden-Ross. Who's next? Emily Linden-Ross. Jacob, Jakey Retzloff. Arlo Tannenbaum. Noah T. And then we're done. No. Paloma Wright. So, some of you I have known since you were 2 years old. Some of you since you were 3 or 4. Some of you since you were 15 or 16. Some of you somewhere in between and along the way. But all of you have become people that are really important to me in my life. People ask all the time if, oh yeah, you have to, they must drive you crazy, all those teenagers and stuff like that. And while, as you know, usually actually it's when we're practicing for the confirmation service. That's the only time that people usually drive me crazy. But in general, truthfully, one of my favorite times of the week is the time that I get to spend with you guys, because people ask interesting questions, because you engage with one another, because those moments in which you are vulnerable and share those parts of yourself that you might not share with everybody, but you feel comfortable sharing in this group, because of all of the experiences that people have shared together. Again, over different timelines in different ways, but whether it be class experiences or people who played on a yard together, or going to Washington, D.C. for a group of you, or being in class, all those other kinds of things coming together. And it's been interesting this year. This has actually been a really unique class in certain ways. We rarely have kids, teens, in our Kabbalat Torah class who didn't become bar or bat mitzvah at TBI. And this year, we have 4 kids in this. This Kabbalat Torah class is actually bigger than the bar bat mitzvah class for the same group of people, because we added Joachim and Arlo and Sam and John Paul all to this class. They each had different relationships to this community and came in different ways. But just a special note to each of you, that each of you brought really wonderful spirit, questions, ideas, and enriched our class in lots of ways. And I appreciate the fact that for all of you, it took even a little more risk to take that leap and to join us, coming into a group of people who had been, a lot of them known each other and been engaged together as a class for a long time, even if a couple of you had different histories with many of the people in the class. It was a new thing. I want to appreciate that from each of you. As we were looking at those pictures at the very beginning, as each of you come in, what I'm always so impressed by is not the growth that goes on between your baby picture and your bar bat mitzvah picture, and not even the physical growth that goes on between your bar bat mitzvah age picture and your current picture, but the amazing growth in your ability to engage and share your ideas and come into your own as human beings. That happens in that period of time. And I feel really blessed to be able to know all of you and be part of your life. And I hope that not only will you come to see Hope next year, it's only once a month, it's easy, one time, but we get to continue to have conversation, and I feed you pizza or bagels or other kinds of things like that to do that as well. But I hope, one of my favorite things, truthfully, is students who call me, text me, whatever, when they're home from college and they want to meet for coffee or do that, and I always buy. I'll buy you. So who come home and say, hey, Rabbi, I'm in town, well, I'd love to get together, to continue to be able to connect with you in your life as you go forward. One of the things that I say, I don't know that, usually if I ask you what I said to you at your bar bat mitzvah in front of the ark, I don't think any of you can remember what I said. But it's okay, I don't remember what they said to me at ordination in front of the ark either, when they put their hands on my head. But one of the things that I usually say is that we love you, and that this should be a safe place for you, and that it's a place that you can come, and that to come to me, to Cantor Paul, to come to anybody in this place when you're struggling and you're having a hard time and you need support, or when you're celebrating and need people to celebrate along with you, when you need a kick in the butt to help push you forward in the things that you do, when you need to be told sometimes to take a breath and just relax, right? That this is a place where you can come with the wholeness of who you are. And each of us is still becoming. We have pieces of ourselves that aren't quite what we'd like them to be, and we have pieces of ourselves that continue to flourish, and to know that you, all of you, the whole of you, is welcome and loved in this place, and that we deeply, deeply appreciate you and all that you bring to us and to the Jewish people. And when I look at all of you, it gives me hope for the Jewish future and for our world, because sometimes it can be kind of depressing to watch the news. I don't know, anybody else feel that way? I sometimes do. But when I work with you guys, people say, you know, as I said at the beginning, oh, how do you work with those teens? They're impossible, whatever. Truthfully, part of what I love working with you guys is it gives me hope. It gives me hope for the future, and that all of you, just bringing yourselves to this world, are going to make it better, and bring wholeness and healing and love and a sense of shalom. So I'm going to invite everybody now to please rise. I'm going to invite Cantor Bush to join me up here.
Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha.
May God's light shine into you and through you to others, and may God always be compassionate unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May God and all that is good be present for you in your life. May you find shalom, wholeness, and peace in your heart, in your community, and may you join with others to bring our world closer to wholeness, to peace, to shalom. And we'll say together, Amen.
Shalom.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are His story in